Let's make a boho ribbon tassel. See all the different threads, cup chain, beads, bead cap. Let's make one. The first thing is I have some fairy silk ribbon. Got a bead cap. Here's cup chain. It's got the rhinestones and pearls. Got some of these smaller metal rose gold plated beads. Also have some Chinese knotting cord. It's on the thinner side. And I picked up on sale at Hobby Lobby some of this yarn that had this stuff on it. Anyways, I thought it would be cool to use. And then I have a bead mix that I use, but I had one that I had used part of, and so I wanted to finish using the rest of it. So I'm going to use these beads. Need some wire, and this is some 22 gauge artistic wire, and you'll need some thread and a needle for stringing the beads. And on the tools, I'm going to need a pair of cutters, a pair of chain nose pliers, and I don't think we'll really need, you'll need some scissors. I don't think we'll need too much else. That's what we're going to use to put this together. And we're also going to need a ruler. I have my 18-inch ruler here. The first thing we're going to do is I had one strand of each ribbon color, and I used half of the ribbon to make the first tassel. Now I'm going to make the second tassel with the other half. So the first thing is I'm going to measure off 11 inches because my tassel is about 5.5 inches, roughly. I'm going to lay it here. And we're not going to pull the ribbon tight because it stretches. Just lay it there and get it about an approximate. And so that's about 11 inches. I'm going to pile all my tools up over here. And we'll go with a snip. You want to save those. We can add the little tassels. So we've got our 3 ribbons. Next, I'm going to cut the Chinese knotting cord. This is probably, it says, yes, from a 0.8 millimeter to a millimeter in size. So it's a thin cord, but it's a good strong cord. So I'm going to cut, and let's see here. Let's give us one. How many did I have? I think I had 3 pieces over here. So we'll do 3 all together. And get this one cut. You can use whatever kind of fibers or ribbons and cord, or your different colors. Make it whatever. I have a little vintage bedroom, and that's why I was making these tassels. I wanted some tie backs for the curtains. I'm going to cut the cup chain again at 11 inches. And this you just gently lay out so it's not too crooked. And let me show you, since the 11 inches is right about there, we're going to cut in between that. You'll want to use your flush cutters So I'm just going to snip that chain right there. And there may be a little piece that'll come out. Looks like it just stuck right there. So we'll hold that. And then we have this frilly yarn. And I'm going to cut 3 pieces of it at 11 inches. Not pulling too tight, just sort of laying it there. I don't mind if it's a little bit longer. You can always trim if it's too long. So let me get 3 pieces of it. One more. All right. The next thing we need to do is to work on threading our beads, which we'll do this and I'll show you that. Okay, I've got needle, double thread, knot, probably about 18 inches long. And then I'm going to, if I can, use my little beads here. The last of them. I'm going to take some of these pretty beads off. Not that end. It is the knot. So let's try this. Oh, I did get a knot, didn't I? These are the metallic hematite beads I will be adding to my shop. I did notice that some of them are kind of stuck together. I just use my fingernail. They're kind of small. I think they're 3 millimeter, and some of them will come apart. But I did notice that that the plating is stuck, and that one is not going to. Can't get that one apart. Oh, there it went. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up one bead. I'm not doing a certain color. I did put a knot down here at the end of this, but I'm just going to go back through the bead and make a loop on it. Bring it around. And it might set a little wonky, but I don't think it's going to show that much. And now we're just going to string some random beads, not any particular order. And some of my mix here has mother of pearl nuggets. Aren't those pretty? And there's a couple of bigger beads. All right. And to save time, I'm going to go ahead and string these. Got a knot there. And we'll be back. Okay. I have almost an inch left to go. One more of this mother of pearl. And maybe a couple more of these little metallic beads. Just kind of random pick here. And we're, pardon me, we're right at 11 inches, which is good. Of the beaded strand, I'm going to add one more. And just like I did at the beginning, we're going to go back up through the second one so I can make me a little knot. Just pull it up. And it might set a little wonky going through that one. going to come back through the first one and then back up through the second one. So it knots it, and then I'm just going to go ahead and bring that thread back through the beads. That's probably good enough. We've got enough there. All right, so we have our 11-inch bead strand. Okay, now we're going to lay out all our ribbons and fibers. Oops, that's the short one. I'll kind of lay them out here where they're a little bit even. I got those little tails a little bit longer. Like I said, you can always trim what you need. Get these little guys laid in there. These fairy silk ribbons are so fun to work with. I've got lots of colors if you wanted to make tassels. And that's just the short piece. Here we got another Chinese knot and cord. Oh, that one really moved. I'm just trying to get them as even as I can. Well, there's different ways you can do this, but I was just going to show you how I did it. So half of 11 would be 5.5. I'm just kind of judging. Some of my ribbons are a little bit longer, but that's okay. So right about here, I'll pinch those together. I'm gonna get a piece of this artistic wire. It's gold-plated. And we're going to make our loop and put on the bead cap. I'm gonna cut, I think 6 inches will be long enough. And then find my center again. So right in here, I'm just gonna kind of pinch it. See if I like the way that that's hanging. Then I'm gonna use my wire here. Bring it up to the middle. The blue one's a little long. Let me pull it. Kind of even that up a little bit. I'm just going to bring all these up now. And pull that tight. Looks pretty good. I got the cup chain kind of down in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist these wires as tight as I can. This is 22 gauge and it's pretty soft. So it'll be easy to twist. There we go. Okay, now I have this bead cap, kind of a bell cap, pretty thick center. Let's just see. Yeah, it's about almost a centimeter in the center, maybe 11 millimeters. We're just going to thread that wire right on through. And the 22 gauge fits in there nice. And I'm just going to pull my tassel up into the bead cap. To where it sits nicely. Like the other one. Now I have both these wires up here, and I kind of twisted them, but that's okay. Undo that just a little. And I'm going to pull that one over. Make sure this is pulled down good so it doesn't slip up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this shorter one over with my bead cap tight, and I'm just going to wrap around that wire. So it doesn't move. And we'll just clip that little tail off. And it has a little bit of a rough edge, so let's pinch it down. Move that end piece in there. And for this, I'm going to make just a wire end loop. I think I made it, I covered it with little pieces of ribbon. I think I made kind of a large loop there. So we're gonna go way back in here to make a larger loop, but let me bend this over. I'm gonna go way back into the jaws. Bring that around. Flip it over, get it untangled from my ribbons. Bring it up. So it's got kind of a wonky looking loop, doesn't it? Bend that down. Well, I'm going to hold it with my chain nose pliers because this wire is pretty flexible. And I'm just going to make some wire loops around, keeping the fibers out of the way. And I was going to cover that with ribbon. That should be good enough. Let me use these nippers. We'll clip that tail right there. Oh, didn't quite catch it. Woo! That's why you cover your wire so it doesn't go flying. And then see this little wire end right here? Let me zoom in if I can. If you hear that noise, it's my cat on my desk behind me. You see this right here? We're gonna pinch that in. Just make that wire go in there so there's no rough edges. And there you go. Made another tassel. I'll add the ribbons. You can do whatever. I made a ribbon loop. I really don't think it's going to be big enough, so I may just cut those off and put in some other ribbon. But anyways, you have a little bit of ribbon left over. Each strand of ribbon is about 42 inches, and they will open up to about a half inch or so. Oh, a little bit larger than that. Yeah, about a half inch. You can press these with a warm iron to open them if you want. I've even taken the white ribbons and colored them myself with alcohol ink and all too. Anyways, that's one of the things you can do with the fairy silk ribbons. I have like 29 different colors and lots to play with. And so there you go. Got me a couple of tassels. Let me zoom out. A couple of tassels now to go in my little vintage bedroom. Pretty cute, huh? Y'all make one. Let me see it. Bye, y'all.